Sunday afternoon from beautiful downtown Walla Walla, Washington. I'm Sara Wutzke, one of the owners of Purl 2, located in Walla Walla. This is Lacey, also known as the Knitted Cupcake.
Hello.
One of our Purl girls. And we're just here to talk to you all things knitting. And so what we're wearing, what we're knitting, what we want to be knitting, and hope you can grab some inspiration for your next project.
Perfect. You want to talk about what you're wearing?
So I'm wearing the Pressed Flowers Cardi by Amy Christoffers of Savory Knits, and I used 2 different colors of Spin Cycle yarns dyed in the wool. I have Vibe Check and the color So Nice was just one skein. Most of this is Vibe Check, and the main color is a wool bamboo blend from Mountain Meadow Wool, and that is, I don't think we have any more of it.
I don't think we have any of the bamboo left.
Yeah, it was the Green River was the name of it. So it's a bamboo wool blend, and it's just a beautiful fingering weight, has some sheen to it from the bamboo. I ended up cropping the sleeves, and I did not do the buttons, and I really, really love the way that it fits. So that's what I'm wearing.
Your version makes me want to knit one.
Yes,
I am
it.
obsessed with it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing the Illuminate pullover by Andrea Mowry. It was her Rhinebeck sweater from 2 years ago?
3 maybe even.
Maybe even 3. I can't remember. But
yeah.
And I knit this out of Spin Cycle Nocturne, I think in the Slumber Party colorway. And then the mohair is the from Knitted Wit, and it's Basic B.
Oh yeah.
Such a fun one. So I love this sweater.
Yeah.
Good one.
Nice.
Sweet.
So we're going to talk about current things we're knitting. Right
Yeah,
now?
we can talk about that.
So I am still working on, this was a test knit that I did not finish on time, but such is life. This is a pullover. Oh my gosh, I don't remember the name of it. It was for This Bird Knits, and she just did it, but it is such a great, it's the same kind of styling. I think
something
it's
like that.
Yeah. Anyhow, my main color is the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sukapi and Medicine Grizzly
Prism pullover.
And our custom Spin Cycle dyed in the wool Cloud 9. If you haven't seen our Cloud 9 before, it is a beautiful blend of burgundies and blush and plum and sage green and kind of everything in between. Sometimes you get a really like minty hit. Like I think I got some of those in here.
That's my favorite.
I love it when you get kind of the minty turquoise. To the deep plums, the Cabernets, everything in between. So as you can see, I'm on the last sleeve finally. So I got off Sleeve Island, and I'm really excited to finish this one. And great texture, great squish. The Sukapi you would have to order from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. We don't carry that base, even though we carry her yarn. And the dyed in the wool, available here all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm working on. And the next thing,
and your mosaic knitting.
I know. Spin Cycle Yarns is doing a Spinberg cal right now for the Musselberg hat. Yours is right up there.
I have one that I cast on.
It's
over there.
Yep.
I'll be back.
So I am using one of their special mashups, which is Wallflower times Rusted Rainbow. And Rusted Rainbow was like my very first Spin Cycle colorway, and it's making this really fun. Like, really, so far, I'm just getting the Roy G of the rainbow, which I'm really loving. So I'm almost halfway done, and then I'll start the second ball here. So those are the 2 things that I'm kind of pretty exclusively working on right now. And I kind of felt like I was a little bit nervous because we keep talking about the same projects, except I feel like there's like this frantic need to always be like doing new things. And it's like a handcraft takes time. So it's going to take us a little while to finish projects.
Yeah.
I am going to get my Traveler Scout.
You get that. So Sara has her Spinberg started, and I have my first one finished, which is just absolutely going to clash with my Illuminate, but is probably the coziest thing I've ever knit.
It's really cute. I love that.
So good. So I did the Spin Cycle that I used. Yeah, that's my mohair's Hypercolor. And the Spin Cycle I used is Valley Girl. I think we've gone back and forth that one. Valley Girl. We've got only one skein left of it. Yeah. But it just is so good. The Hypercolor really created this really electric violet wash over all of it, which I tend to lean towards more earthy jewel tone, but having something that's...
It would match this quite lovely.
It would match your pressed flowers. And so then I finished this one, I think within a week of the cowl starting. And so I was like, hey, I've got plenty of spin cycle stash. And what's funny is my next one is in the straight up rusted rainbow.
Oh, wow, yeah. So you can see much of the difference.
Yeah.
When you mash it up. I mean, obviously they're different all the time anyway, but...
Right. So you can tell how Sarah's, because yours is the mashup with...
Wallflower.
Yeah. So it brings in a lot of those lighter tones, whereas just the straight up rusted rainbow, it's just that earthy rainbow that I am obsessed with. So I just got to the point where I am done with all of the crown increases, and now I just get to knit for 12 miles until I get to do the crown decreases again. And I like to weigh my yarn after I do my crown increases, so I know exactly how much I need to do the decreases, so I can get...
Would have been a good idea.
So on mine, it took about 10 grams
to do the decreases.
to do the increases on mine that I did with the mohair.
Okay.
So if you leave like 11 grams at the end, you should be good for your decreases. Okay. So that's my second Spinberg that is on the needles.
Okay. And then I talked about this on Instagram already, but I am in love, so I'm going to show it again.
So
this
good.
is the Traveler Cowl, and it's the same bandana shaping as the Shift and the Inclinations Cowl, and she's done like several that are the same shaping. So you cast on at one corner, you increase, you knit this whole piece flat, and then the shaping makes it like a bandana. I like to tuck the neck down in because then it just doesn't ride up too high. Mm-hmm. But if you needed the warmth, like if you're legit out in the cold, you could pull it up over your mouth a little bit more. But I just love it. And it was my first time knitting with Trine, and I really wish I had used it sooner. It is Spin Cycles Marl instead of like their color changing yarn. So each of the plies is a consistent tonal. Each of the colorways is a different blend of 3 different tonals. And I just love it. But even for having a 3-ply tonal where it's consistent, you still get like good
like washes of just one kind of
variation.
color.
Yeah. And I don't know how this is going to work. We don't have the camera facing us, so you get to just see. But it has good movement and variation. And this pattern, squish, it's so good. Mm-hmm. So I used 4 skeins for the adult large, but I really got just into the 4th skein barely. You could totally get away with 3 skeins if you omit like a yarn, like a
repeat
section of not even like a repeat, like 4 rows. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good to know. So I am also on the Traveler
train.
So when Andrea came out with the shawl, I jumped on that right away. And I cast on and started the Traveler shawl in the Biche Bouche, what is it, Gross?
That one's just La Lamb's wool.
La Lamb's wool. Oh, because the Gross is heavier? Or
yeah, La Grosse is Aran.
Okay.
La Lamb's wool is a DK, and La Petite is fingering.
Yep. So I'm in just La Lamb's wool in the candy colorway. And again, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see of all of the perfect little pastel tweedy bits that show up in this. But if you go to our Instagram, you'll get some good close-up shots of it. And maybe I can put them in editing. We'll see how fancy I want to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's really a cool colorway because from a distance, it reads pretty just neutral gray. But then once you get up close, you get to see all of those fun pops of color. So I've got the shawl going, but then also I have the cowl.
Oh, like I could not.
I couldn't not because this is actually a yarn that I've had in
really
stash.
Fast too. It is really fast. I cast on the pattern was these on Thursday. I cast on. I knew that you were doing that.
Yes.
I cast on like that late morning, and by Saturday evening it was blocking. Like it's really, really enjoyable. If that's the only thing you're working on.
Yes. And also
I did it exclusively, and it was snow days.
DK. And this is actually this was a gift from Sara because I am a purple girl. And so this is actually a spin cycle from their original mill, first mill, old mill.
Yeah.
And
it was when they did like mega bundles, and I think it might even be like not seconds, but it was like a big mega cake of mill ends, maybe.
Something. I haven't come up with any ends.
Oh, then maybe it was just like a mega.
I think it's BFL.
Okay.
Because you've sent me a picture of when you first got it.
Okay.
And I think I remember seeing BFL. But it was a hefty cake of spin cycle.
It was like 800 yards.
Yeah. It's a good one. And so because it was the original mill, it's a finer weight. I would definitely say this is closer to a fingering, if not light fingering, compared to the sport weight that they do now with their dyed-in-the-wool.
Yeah.
Because I'm knitting this on a 2.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
Sorry for the vacuuming. We're after hours and it's a building, so it's going to get clean. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got the cowl going. So you can kind of see how it starts here on this end. And then I went down as deep as it was supposed to go.
And this is going to be your one back edge, the back seam. So like if you imagine this part goes across the front of your head, like this part goes around your neck. Yeah. And that seam's in the back.
Yeah. And the really cool thing about this pattern, Andrea designed it, the cowl specifically, to be really adaptable to whatever weight yarn you're using, from like fingering up to worsted weight.
Yeah.
And so the instructions do include, do this for X amount of repeats, but also has an option to do it to a specific length, which I think is brilliant, because then I could use this lighter weight fingering, and I had to go until just the measurement, but it's going to give me the same kind of dimension that Sara's cowl is. Mm-hmm. So really excited to get this done and grooving along.
And the thing with this one, the DK weight, it's the same shape as the other ones, but because it's a DK weight, like it is the same dimensions, but it's just sturdy. Like It feels very substantial. Like I would definitely wear this snowshoeing with no other, like no vest or coat on. Like this would do me with a sweater.
And this is going to be a lovely spring accessory with it just being that finer weight, but still that same dimension. So I'm excited to see it kind of grow, and this amazing spin cycle colors continue to shift. That's once you knit with spin cycle, you kind of
it's fun,
get obsessed, and that's all you want to knit with. At least that's been
in our newsletter. I shared some other patterns that are awesome for trying also. Boyland Knitworks had a sweater that I had somehow not seen at all. It's beautiful. It has an awesome graphic colorwork yoke. And so I shared that in our newsletter. And then also the Olga Roku hat takes 2 skeins of trine. And so those are like, if you wanted a smaller project to try trine, the Roku hat would be awesome for just 2 skeins, or the kids version of the traveler cowl. And then if you wanted something more substantial, then a sweater would be really cool. But it's beautiful. It uses 4 colors of trine. It's really cool.
Well, and I mean, both you and I have knit with a lot of spin cycles, so we know how it blocks out and how it wears, and it has a really lovely drape to it once it's all said and done. Finished project, blocked. I don't know. Spin cycle, they've really nailed it with their yarns. I don't think I've knit with any of theirs and been like,
I know.
I don't need to do that again. That's never been my experience.
I was like, why didn't I knit with this sooner?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very, very nice knitting experience. Okay, so now to talk about a pattern that was just released.
Or my one that's almost done.
Oh, yeah.
My big dog.
Yeah.
So this is my last whip that has been my primary focus. And I got this close to finishing it today, but I just didn't. And that's okay. So this beast of a sweater is the Spirit Week Stripes by Park and Knit. And I really am using her pattern as just the base. Her pattern originally uses 2 colors, and it's like a thick stripe, thin stripe variation throughout. So very like
whimsical.
No, like collegiate sports, like Spirit Week, which is great too. Like I loved it, but I saw these colors and it's Biche Bouche. I can never...
Coton and alpaca.
Yes, le coton and alpaca.
Don't come at us, French speakers.
I am not. I could sign it to you, but that's not going to help with my French pronunciation. So it's 66% cotton and 34% superfine alpaca. And it's kind of a chainette type of ply, which I think is going to give that alpaca some structure, because alpaca likes to stretch and grow.
Oh, it's not the blown?
No, it's very...
It's all together, okay.
Yeah, let's see if I can find an end here. Like, it looks very...
Oh, yeah.
chainy. Like, I can unravel it.
Right.
I don't know. It's been really fun to work with.
And it's warm.
But not too
heavy.
Not too heavy.
Yeah.
Leah
did the big rib pullover with
Yes.
it also, and I think she ended up using 5 to 7 skeins on like size 10 needles, and she was done with that in like a weekend. She's a fast knitter though.
On size 9. If I didn't have a 13-month-old at home, I would have had this done in a month easily. Yeah. But toddlers, man. So we got a bunch of new colors in the fall, and they were all sitting together, and I had to put them together and use them all in a project. So I am on the bottom ribbing. I decided that I wanted a thicker, more substantial ribbing on the bottom. So I'm going a little off pattern for that one. Had to do a little something different in the arm decreases just so it wasn't so billowy. I wanted them to be a little more fitted since it is quite an oversized boxy sweater. But this will be done.
I feel like that's always a good offset. If it's a pretty boxy sweater, having a more fitted sleeve.
Yeah. And that was my issue. It didn't, like the decreases didn't start until like 4 stripes down.
Just big all over.
And so the drop shoulder comes almost all the way down to my elbow.
Oh, so it looked funny.
So having such a big sleeve,
yeah.
It felt like I was wearing my dad's sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And that's not quite what I was going for. So yeah, really excited about this. Again, my earthy rainbow, like my jam.
You have a palette.
I do.
I think really everybody does, really.
It's like this is my palette, and then purple.
Yeah,
is really.
Yeah,
and they don't always talk to one another. It's really funny. They're two very different aesthetics, but I love them both. So yeah, that's my Spirit Week stripes, and I am almost done with that.
So this week, I think that she released it at Vogue, right? The new Joji sweater? Or Vogue adjacent.
Yes.
So Joji Locatelli just released a new cardigan, and hers, she had like duster length. Like it's a super long cardigan.
I'll
open
try
front.
to put a picture in.
Okay. Open front cardigan. You can see it here.
Maybe.
And if not, we'll link it in our
Yes.
And then La Bien-Aimée, she...
As well as a couple of her other testers.
Okay. Posted what we would both love to knit, which is like hip length, a little bit like this length of sweat sleeves, which I love, especially for
pull them up
anyway. Most of the time. So Lacey pulled some fun combinations today. What is the name of it? It's not Elton.
The Milton.
Milton.
The Milton cardigan. So the really cool thing about this is Joji Locatelli is amazing at creating size inclusive garments, but for whatever reason, the yarn requirements on this are like minimal for.
Is it big needles?
I didn't pay attention to what size needles they were. I should have, but I know that for my size, which I'm usually about a women's 18, 2X is kind of the size range that I live in. I would do a size 7 in her cardigan, and it only asked for, and for the full duster length, 4 skeins of sport weight and 2 skeins of mohair.
Wow.
Which I think is very reasonable for that amount of a garment.
So for hip length, it would be even less.
Yeah. So maybe still 2 skeins of the mohair, but like 3 sport weight, which is super reasonable. So I definitely have kind of color palette going right now, but I pulled what we had in stock.
Yeah.
I knew you would love this one. Again, this is for the larger size.
So this is our Classico Sport, which is 100% superwash merino. It's 328 yards per 100 grams, and I love this one. It's really it's a good sport weight. And then and it's just called Classico Sport. And then this is the mohair is our ice wine, which is 463, I think, 459 per 50 grams.
So, and then this is in the colorway Brights and Pink Tank for the mohair, which I think would just make, just look at how bright and springy, summery, like it's just, that cardigan is really, I think, built for
just a good layer.
Warmer days, cooler evenings. So there's another combo in the Purls Before Wine line. I thought this was a really fun one. So we have a Sunrise in the sport weight and Cantaloupe in the mohair. And Cantaloupe is really fun because it's got some blues, some reds, some fun different colored speckles, which I thought would play really fun in those really kind of airy mohair stripes to bring in a little bit of pop of color. So that's our orange one. this might be, we've got another skein of this somewhere, but this might be one of my top contenders for
That's beautiful.
myself. I really love both of these. So, again, our Classico Sport, and this is a colorway Pink Pape, which I know you love this color. You've knit a couple
It's
things
Leah's,
with
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And then this is one of my favorite colors from Farmer's Daughter Fiber, and it's Lulu. My aunt called me Lulu growing
cute.
up, so I have like this innate, like I have to have it kind of a color, but it's that great peachy coral, just, I love it. So
I like this one though because even though it's like a peachy, it has enough of the darker pops of like the plum and even that down to champagne that it has good movement. So it's not just like flesh tone for me.
No, right. It doesn't look like I'm wearing skin.
Yeah.
So there's that one. We have a very warm tone, so we'll stick with that. So then I pulled, again, people were
like
digging
that
through
one.
what I pulled, so I don't quite have the second skein, but we do have more of this. Again, from
I love this.
Farmer's Daughter Fiber. This is her Mighty Mo in Sunday Mimosa, and then Mountain Meadow Wool, the Cody, and that's our sport weight base in the marigold color. So just a really warm yellow.
So Cody, one of my favorite sweaters is the Everyday Pullover by Andrea Mowry, which I knit in our version of Cody, which is our hometown sport. They sell dyer skeins for us, and so Buffalo, Wyoming is Leah's hometown, and so we did some hometown sport weight, and it's my most worn sweater. I love it so much.
I used this in my Great Gingham, and
it's just like bouncy, and it's so good.
Yeah, the squish is unreal with this.
And if you wanted something with more movement, there's tweeds also that have two colors. Like really, they're marls.
Yes,
They're called tweed. Yeah.
And mine technically I think was the tweed, but still it's a
Same
sport
thing.
weight.
Same base, yeah.
Knits up beautifully, wears really beautifully.
It feels good to knit with.
Yeah, it's 100% wool, but it doesn't. There is absolutely no itch or prickle, or it's just it's a really lovely yarn. And so then keeping in that vein, for the neutral people out there, same thing. The Cody Sport Weight in the medium gray, and then a Farmer's Daughter Mighty Mo in winter wool. So just a basic.
And the Mighty Mo and Ice Wayne are the exact same
base.
They're the same fiber content, same yardage, everything. So.
70-30 wool silk, merino wool silk.
Not merino.
Kid mohair silk.
Yeah.
My bad. But yeah, so a neutral option, which I don't know. I know that I've got yarn in my stash so that I could do something with, but I'm really tempted by the Pink Pape or the gray or the yellow.
Yeah.
I love them all at the end of the day.
I love the gold.
Yeah, it's it's a good one.
The hot pink is fun.
That's very you.
So I think that's all we have for you today. We are going to try and do this regularly. I think most of the times we work. Sometimes Leah's going to come on with us. Leah Sandven is the other half of us. If you have been watching lives and stuff lately, she's been coming on more. And so it'll just depend on like who's available to come talk about their whips. Sometimes we'll be sharing information about the store. Sometimes we'll be just talking about aspirational knits and maybe going over different techniques, or we're just brainstorming all the things.
Yes.
So basically we want you to see our faces more and get used to seeing us.
Primary goal.
And we do have plans to be vending at more shows this year too. So more of our Purls Before Wine getting out in the world. So
it's really, you and Leah have done a great job with your dyeing.
It's been really fun.
Yeah.
It's a great creative outlet. Yeah. So come see us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.